do it physically. You have to do it through the mind, either through fear or through conditioning people to think the way you want them to think. So these hundreds of sheep were rounded up by one fella flicking his eyelids every now and again, and a sheepdog dispensing fear. And that's how it's done in human terms also. It's amazing the extent to which we have given our power away, our spiritual power. When I come to the spiritual side of this, and I emphasize again not the religious in the second half of what I've got to say, it's all about taking our power back. Because once we do that, it's all over. The great pyramid of manipulation that I'm going to talk about tonight becomes impossible. But when we give it away, we're a doddle to manipulate. We've even given our bodies away, you know. It's funny, this. It's, apart from our mind, it's the one thing that is us. We own it. But we've given it away. Brought home to me, I went into National Health Service Hospital a little while ago with my boy Gareth, who plays football. And he's hurt himself playing football, hurt his hand, you see. So we go down the casualty unit to see if he's cracked the bone or something. So we go in this little cubicle thing, and this young doctor comes in, nice chap, and he pulls his hand around, you know, and he says, no, he says, it's not broken. He says, best thing for that is arnica. Now I've nearly fallen off the bench here. This National Health Hospital doctor is recommending this homeopathic type remedy. So I said, what do the authorities say about you recommending this then? He says, I don't tell them. He said, and he pulls two little bottles out of his pocket, like, and he said, people come to this casualty unit, he says, they're usually traumatized because of what's happened to them. He says, I put 2 little drops of this on their tongue, calms them down. Rescue remedy, I guess. He said, you know those nurses out in that casualty area, he said, I treat them homeopathically, he said, but I can't treat the patients except on the quiet. Same in America, same in these other areas of the world where they have the same basic system, which is to tell us what we do and don't do with our bodies and how we treat them and how we don't treat them. Because when I was sitting in that unit, that casualty unit with that young doctor, I thought, how many people contribute their money to fund the National Health Service or the Human Debris Processing Unit, which it's fast become, to make it possible for it to continue? Millions and millions of people do that. Every week, every month, they fund the thing. How many people decide that for that money, we will not be offered the great spectrum of healing knowledge going back to antiquity? We will actually be given, in effect, the choice between the scalpel and the drug, which just happen to make vast amounts of money for multinational drug companies, who make their literally billions in profits, not from health, but from disease. How many people decide that? A relative handful. All of them probably linked into the multinational drug company network. It's a great scam, you know. If you control the World Health Organization, you make sure there are statements. The World Health Organization says there's going to be a measles epidemic next year. Get vaccinated. Get your children vaccinated. You're a bad parent if you don't. Then the same people that organize that then start flogging out the vaccine and make a fortune out of it. It's one of the things that I think opens up so much to what's really going on in the world is when we realize that the same force controls apparently different organizations. So this giving our mind away, giving our power away, has actually created the vehicle for the few to control the world. And that vehicle is overwhelmingly what I call hassle-free zones, call them comfort zones as well. Every dogma Christian dogma, Islamic dogma, Jewish dogma, economic dogma, political dogma. Crikey, you could stay here all night. We're a dogma production line, the human race. Each of those dogmas, and societies in general, are all hassle-free zones. By that I mean there is a very narrow area of acceptable thought and behavior, the norm, which, if you conform to it, you're left alone. You're hassle-free. No one calls you mad. No one calls you dangerous. No one gives you a hard time for the crime of being different, if you conform. If you start to think, well, actually, you know, I've got a mind of my own, and it's a unique mind, and therefore I'm going to have my unique truth and my unique view of me and life and everything, you start to get very dangerously close to the edge of the hassle-free zone, and eventually, if you keep going, you step outside of it. At that point, he's mad, he is. She's, what strange she is. He's dangerous, he is. Oh. And most people don't want that hassle. They don't want to be treated like that. So most people, even if they put their toe out there, go, oh my goodness, I'm staying in here. It's flipping hassle out there. So what happens? The mass comes up. You know, you go down any rush hour in any city in the world, London, New York, Sydney, anywhere, and you see all those hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people coming past in the street. They're not projecting to the world what they really are, what they really feel, what they really want to do with their lives. They've got a mask.